packet. Do you want to see my packet that I took?
Chair.
I need Donna Donna's on the chair. I need to print your name right there because I'm going to introduce it.
Yeah. And the meeting is started.
The meeting started.
Okay. Quickly. No, right there.
No, that's me.
Because we're starting.
Sorry. That's okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Good morning. I'm calling the quarterly meeting of the Library Advisory Board to order. And so first of all, we would like to approve the minutes of August 4th, 2022. Are there any? So moved?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes of August 4th signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Thank you. Now, before we get into the rest of our agenda, I want to introduce to the public, to the citizens of Clearwater, the members of the Library Advisory Board. So first of all, and I'm going to ask them also, just give us a sentence about why you wanted to be on the Library Advisory Board. So Kelly McClegg is our vice chair, and so I would like you to say a few words. Kelly?
Good morning, everyone. I've lived in Clearwater for over 30 years, and I've always been an avid reader and loved the library. And when I started to realize how much the library had to offer in this community, I wanted to be a part of the board to find out more and help get that information out to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I'm going to go to that, and Helen Ambergy, please introduce yourself to the public.
Hi, I'm Helen Ambergy. I have been passionate about books and reading my whole life. I feel that libraries play a critical role in the community, and so I'm just so happy to support ours in this way.
Thank you. And I'm going to go over here now. Timothy Proman.
Thank you. My mother was a first grade teacher. She taught me how to read at an early age. I'm a big fan of the libraries, always have been. Loved Bookmobile in my neighborhood growing up. And I'm a big fan of Clearwater Library System, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And our newest member, new today, Kelly, and pronounce your last name?
Malizia.
Melissa. Okay, Kelly, tell us why you wanted to be on the library board.
Well, I have missed libraries being in my life. I was a librarian in Pinellas County for about 15 years. I just need it back in my life, so here I am.
Thank you. And I'm Donna Dennis, the chair of the Library Advisory Board. I'm a retired English teacher and a secondary reading specialist, so I've often said books are my life. And as I used to tell my students, I can't teach you everything you'll need to know in your life, but if you can read, if you can do research, no door will ever be closed to you. And so that's why I decided to be a part of the library board. So thank you for your indulgence, and now moving into our next item. Are there any citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda? Seeing none, we shall move on. Going into new business items, the library board schedule. And who's got that available? Jen, do you have a copy of that? No. Do you? All right. I do not have.
The agenda,
I believe it was published online.
yeah.
And so I know our next meeting is the first Thursday of February. So we will just table that for the moment, and I would suggest that everybody go back online, find it, and run a copy for yourself. But as you know, of course, you will be notified amply about when we meet.
I have it right here, Donna, sorry, if you'd like it.
Yes, please, go right ahead.
So it says that library board meetings are scheduled on Thursdays at 10:15 a.m., February 2nd, May 4th, August 3rd, and November 2nd.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And again, for anyone else who wants to check it, it is online. Very good. Now, moving on, and this is one thing, those of you who got here earlier, and I will pass those down. I've got a handout for you with a couple of items. The first page is indicating some of the things our library, our various libraries have accomplished this year, and I'll refer to that later. But if you turn the page, you're going to see the materials selection policy. Now, this is also available online, and we wanted to make sure that we made the public aware that we are very thoughtful about this idea of what materials we have in our library, how they come into our library, and how any challenges to those materials are handled. So, I know that you may not have read it prior to today. What I'm going to do is ask Jen Obermeyer, our director, if she'd tell us any current issues that have come up relating to the materials selection policy.
For Clearwater, or just in general?
Yes, it's for the Clearwater Library System.
Okay. We have not had any formal requests to revisit items. Some libraries in Pinellas County have, and some, I think one or two libraries may have had a challenge for a display. So we have a very robust policy, as you can gather if you haven't read it. And we have a process. When someone wants to challenge a book, they have the right to do so. And the process is detailed in the policy. And it's, reviewed by committee and me. And so we always, like you mentioned, we're very thoughtful in what we purchase. And we offer various viewpoints, items on various viewpoints and ideas and issues. So we're not biased, and we're just very fortunate that we haven't had any formal challenges recently.
Wonderful.
Actually, for a long time.
Now, are there any comments or inquiries from other board members about the policy? Because I certainly would direct your attention to the section, a couple of pages in, it says procedures for the questioning of material selection by patrons. So between now and our next meeting, if you would take a look at that, so that if you have any inquiries about how this is handled, we can deal with it at our next board meeting. Also, I've attached the library display policy, because as you go around to our various libraries, it certainly is critical to observe what is being put on display, what is the context that materials are presented in. Certainly, as I go around the community, I have seen just tremendous displays, and my compliments to the entire library staff, because I think our Clearwater library staff, all the libraries, are just doing a phenomenal job. And certainly the interests of the public are foremost, and that engagement of the public is very clear from everything that I have observed in the displays and materials on display. All right, any other considerations on that topic? All right.
Just to
Yes.
clarify, so this is the policy that's in place?
Yes.
This isn't something that's been recently,
No.
this is what we've had?
The material
Yes.
selection policy and the challenges, that's a long-standing
Right.
policy. The display policy is fairly recent, within the year.
Yes, that was reviewed February of 2022.
Yeah.
And I simply wanted us to take a look at these,
Oh, of course.
because there has been so much this year about challenges, primarily to school libraries. But as a public library and as a large community, we know we have the most diverse population in this city, and we want to make sure that we are addressing the needs and desires and interests of everybody. So that's why I just thought this would be a good time for us to bring it up.
And also, if you read under the challenges section, if something is challenged, formally challenged, and we go through the process and decide that this item will not be removed, the patron can also counter that, and then it goes to the library advisory board.
Yes, yes.
So just note that when you're reading through the policy. So, and then you as a board will make a recommendation to the city manager.
Yes, so should this ever become an issue, you'll be aware.
Glad we're prepared.
Very good, very good. All right, continuing on, let's talk about the budget for fiscal year
And just
22,
briefly,
23.
I just wanted to share the great news. The budget was approved the end of September. I know the storm kind of delayed it a little bit, but the fiscal year 22, 23 budget has been approved throughout the city and our department. And I'm happy to report that for us, it's a status quo budget. We didn't have any cuts. So we're very grateful for that.
With inflation, is status quo adequate to meet our needs? Okay. I just thought I'd check since it seems inflation is the number one word
I know.
in the news these days. Yes, Timothy.
I watched the budget presentations before the city council, and there was a 12% budget cut at the beach library.
That was because we had staff changes, the branch manager, and that was just a salary difference. So,
So are we minus a manager?
no, we have a current manager, it's just the current manager's salary was different from the former manager. So that was where the 12%. So there were no cuts to the beach library at all.
All right, were any of the other libraries, Greenwood in particular, is that budget exactly the same as it was last year?
It should be exactly the same. However, I did submit Saturday hours and Friday morning hours at the North Greenwood Library, and that did not make, that was not approved this year.
So what are the hours on Friday and Saturday at Greenwood?
12 to 5. And they're 12 to 5 on Friday, and they are not open on Saturday.
Not open on Saturday,
But
Not
I'm
open on
advocating for
Sunday.
them to be, and no Sunday either.
so no Friday evening, no Saturday, no Sunday.
Correct.
That needs to be talked about.
I would agree. That's not serving that community as well as it needs to be. Any other comments on the budget? Okay, let's move on to the old business, main library renovation status.
Yes. We are moving forward, and, you know, it says renovation. Really, it's going to be a reorganization of some areas in our library. And then also, it was suggested that we add a cafe element again to the main library. So right now, we're in the process of going through the RFP process, request for proposals for an architect on record, and then also letters of interest for vendors to operate the cafe. If we do get a cafe, because we've had cafes here before, and most of the constraints were they were only open when we were, so they were beholden to our hours. So a lot of them haven't been successful. If we get a cafe this time, we will have the ability for outside access. So when we're closed, the cafe can still be open. And it'll be along the bluff walk. So once Coachman Park is done, we feel that it'll be active. So to be continued, we're starting this process literally right now, and it is a process.
Okay.
And we'll definitely
Well, I appreciate the update because my understanding had been that the renovations were stalled for
Yes.
the main library. But you're now indicating you've been given the go-ahead to proceed with at least getting the RFPs and,
Correct.
Okay.
And the reason it was stalled was the city hall moving into the main library discussion. But that the council has voted to build a new city hall. So city hall will not be moving into the main library,
okay.
so
Well,
we
that's
can move forward.
very good to know. I breathe a sigh of relief at that one, certainly. Because I haven't noticed a whole lot of vacant space in this library. And I do have to mention the parking issue, because when there is a city meeting or program going on, and then regular patrons are coming in, parking is an issue here. We know we've lost spaces with what's been done so far, and with the temporary lot across the street, I personally have found the parking here to be inadequate. So I certainly want to make sure that the city is attending to the issue of adequate parking for our library. Okay? Any other comments on the renovation or reorganization program? All right. Staff vacancy status, where do we stand
We're
now?
still plugging along. I think I reported the same thing last meeting. We are down to 8 vacancies. The struggle is when we open up lists for people to apply, we're not getting many candidates. And in addition, we've been promoting internally, which just creates another hole somewhere else. So it's really been a challenge for us, and it's not just our library or, this is a challenge for many industries nationally and many libraries as well. We have meetings every month with the public library directors around the state, and they're all saying the same thing. It's hard to find candidates these days.
And
And I
are
don't
these
know-
vacancies part or full-time?
Both.
Okay.
Primarily part-time is a struggle to hire.
Okay,
And we do have a significant number of part-time.
all right. And if someone in the public is interested in applying, how would they do that?
They can go to myclearwater.com and there's right there, apply for jobs,
Okay.
employment, so.
Good. And we would encourage any of you out there, go to myclearwater.com. This is a great city. It's a great place to work. All right?
Do you feel that the salaries are just pretty standard relative to other areas, libraries?
Yes, and our HR department has done an internal review of salary ranges, and they have increased some positions. So we are competitive, and next year they're going to be hiring a consultant to do another study of salaries and job descriptions and classes.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I know that, working in a library, kind of similar to teaching, is underpaid, and, not a field that, anyone's going to get rich doing, but it's well worth it. I think I was surprised when I was looking at some of the listings that a job position requiring a master's degree was paying, what it was paying. It was like, wow. So I don't know if that's part of the problem, but I know it's something that you all must have.
and our national association, our American Library Association, does a survey nationally every year, and that's very consistent with.
Yeah, I figured.
So,
The rewards are not monetary.
Oh, it's really nice when last voting season with the minimum wage increase, I think the law says every year you have to increase it by $1. The city did a wonderful, generous thing, and they just increased it to $15 right away. So at least we have our staff working at least minimum wage.
Great.
So,
Yeah, very good.
yeah.
Are there any benefits with these jobs? Are they considered city employees?
Oh, yes.
And so there are benefits with the full-time?
Oh, yes. Pension, vacation leave, sick leave,
Okay.
holiday
Pretty good
clothes.
benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
very good benefits. Health insurance, so.
Very good.
All right.
Well, thank you for that level of detail. Go ahead.
Yeah, is there any possibility you could lower it to a bachelor's degree instead of a master's degree for a position or two? Or can you get students who want to, college students who are interested in becoming librarians or English majors to be able to apply?
We require a master's degree for our librarians, our professional staff. And for our part-time librarians, if you're enrolled in library school, you can apply. For our paraprofessionals, a lot of the positions don't even require a degree, just like a high school degree, a high school diploma, or some degrees. So it's really just librarians that we require a master's degree.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you.
Okay, so the openings are also a variety of educational requirements.
Exactly.
Oh, that is very good.
Depending on the position.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's move into the director's report. First of all, fall programming.
Oh, yes. We just had so many Halloween programs that have been wonderful. The beach did trunk or treat. We partnered with the rec center. Same thing with Countryside. And then we also partnered with the CRA this year. We did a pumpkin patch coloring contest. I don't know if it's still up. We had it displayed in the front windows. So we're doing more partnership programs for Halloween, and now we have Thanksgiving coming up and the winter season. So they're just fun programs, and lots of families and even our adult craft programs are very popular. So the holidays, we always like to celebrate the holidays through our services. So.
Okay, and I assume the library remains open between Christmas and New Year's?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So because obviously that's a time when children are more available to use the resources here.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Because we're out of school.
now, we understand we have a new library website.
Well, we will have a new library. And actually, it'll be a new library website, but the city overall has redesigned the website. And if you'd like to get a brief or a preview, you can go to myclearwater.com to get an idea of what it's going to look like. Most of it's going to be the templates are consistent throughout the departments. And basically, it's just more user-friendly. So I think people will be able to find information a lot easier now and with fewer clicks.
Okay.
And that, we're looking to launch our library website by the end of the year. So, next month.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, new digital newspapers.
Yes, this is very exciting for us. We, of course, have been subscribing to New York Times online, free of charge, the Wall Street Journal. We just signed on for the Washington Post. And we just added 2 more, and that's the Florida Newspaper Collection. So there are Florida newspapers throughout the state, including the Tampa Tribune. And the Black Newspaper Collection, and that is nationwide.
Okay.
So that will be launching very soon, within the next couple weeks.
How does the public access that? Is that if you're a library member, you have
You just need a
access?
library card.
Oh,
Most of the papers require you just to create an account.
okay.
But you enter your library card and you get, a valid code or whatever, and then you have access to the newspaper. And a lot of newspapers now have what they call paywalls, so you get, 10 free articles a week or a month. With us, it's unlimited. And you don't have to be in the library to read these papers. You can be at home or wherever and access the newspapers.
Amazing, I had no idea. I pay for the Washington Post.
You don't need to know.
You can let that one expire, yes.
Question. For the New York Times, you said free of charge. That's free of charge to the patrons or also free of charge to the library?
No, we pay.
Okay. Just seeing if they change
Actually,
the ways.
all of our subscriptions we pay. No,
Okay.
the taxpayers pay.
That's a wonderful
Gotcha,
service.
gotcha.
Yes, it really is.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us about holiday hours. I alluded to it briefly.
Holiday hours, yeah, Christmas and New Year's fall on the weekend this year. So usually we close early for Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and New Year's Eve. And we will be this year, but because it lands on the weekends, we couldn't, because the city's holidays observed on the Monday and then Sunday. So we're going to be open part of this year's Saturday from 10 to 2. We close early, and then the next day is Christmas Day and New Year's Day, and then the city's observed holiday is that Monday.
Okay, so they'll all be closed on the Monday after Christmas and New Year's then?
Yes,
Okay,
so.
okay, thank you.
And we'll be closed for Easter again this year.
All right, very good. Now, what's happening with the Library Foundation?
I do not have an update from the library.
Okay, other than they did fund the backpack program.
They certainly did.
Okay,
They asked
and
this year.
that's something that is just an outstanding program, and so when you do speak with whomever is chairing that, kudos, great program.
Absolutely. We gave out, this summer, we gave out 1,500
Yeah.
backpacks filled with school supplies and books.
That is
And a
outstanding.
generous donation from the
Yes, and that's across the whole system, not just
Absolutely.
here at the main library. Great. All right, and what's happening with the Friends of the
The
Clearwater?
only update I have is they are having a jewelry sale coming up. I believe that the 9th, 10th, we're closed for Veterans Day, and then the 12th. So I think they have their hours on their store. So they're getting ready to, bring in some jewelry and hopefully have a great sale.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Good. And one thing before we, as we go into the board members to be heard, I just wanted to make sure that all of you knew that at the city council meeting this evening, I will be presenting the annual report. So that begins at 6 p.m. and of course it's rebroadcast on TV ad nauseum. Okay, are there any other board members who wish to be heard on any topic?
Oh, I just wanted to ask briefly, have you seen any, I think it was last year that we voted to remove the fines. So have you seen any negative impact from that?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
It has
wonderful.
gone so smoothly.
Good.
And we're actually seeing a lot of materials come back. And that is a large part of the intent of going
Yeah.
fine-free.
Well, that's great.
is to get the materials back from people. Because a lot of people were hesitant to return books because then the fines would be,
Do you automatically renew books that haven't been returned? Is that a
they're
process?
automatically renewed twice if they're not on hold for a patron.
Okay. As a patron and a board member, I don't want to have overdue items. So and so I'll periodically check, and it seemed like they were being extended without me hitting the renew button. So I just wanted to make
Yep.
sure. But that's good to know.
Yes.
And is it true also for the DVDs?
Yes,
And
all
CDs.
our
All
materials.
materials,
There's some
okay.
collections,
Okay.
like our Thingamabary collection, Library of Things. That's not automatically renewed, or hotspots. And some special collections from other PPLC libraries are not automatically renewed.
Yeah, because one thing I would suggest to the public, when you're looking to cut expenses, you can cut some of your streaming services because we have a fabulous DVD collection here, and you can put in a request, and get what you want. And it's just on your library card. So this is a tremendous benefit to
Absolutely.
the residents of Clearwater.
And I also want to mention, we have various streaming services for movies, audiobooks. You can download audiobooks and music, and of course, ebooks. So we have those services as well if you've cut the cord and don't, have DVD players anymore. So you can also do that online as well, and magazines too. So.
Those are wonderful services. I've often said that most residents of Clearwater do not appreciate just how outstanding the services of this library are and how every single person in this city can benefit from engaging with our library system.
Very true.
Okay. Now, we have something special today, a tour of the Maker Studios. So I guess I will do the formal adjourning of this meeting as we move into our tour. Okay, thank you, everyone.